pour garantir la sécurité de l'espace aérien confédéral, la souveraineté et l'intégrité territoriale de ses États membres, ainsi que la sécurité des populations de la Confédération AES. À cet égard, et sur instruction des chefs d'État, les défenses aériennes et anti-aériennes de l'espace confédéral mises en alerte maximale, conformément à la déclaration du Collège des chefs d'État en date du 22 décembre 2024, ont été autorisées à neutraliser tout aéronef qui violerait l'espace confédéral. Fait à Bamako le 8 décembre 2025, général d'armée Assimi Goïta, président de la transition, chef de l'État de la République du Mali, président de la Confédération des États du Sahel.
Merci bien.
For the sake of us, we don't understand their French. I'll give you an idea of what the guy talk. So he was announcing that they've detained an aircraft with 11 crew members or 11 personnel on board, including the crew members, for violating the airspace of the AES country. Listen, when they broke away from the ECOWAS about a year or so ago, countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, and partly Chad, by the way, so Niger Republic, they formed a bloc. They called it AES. You see, this bloc was out of the fact that when they put out of the ECOWAS, including Nigeria, they were placing sanctions on them. You know what I mean? Financial this and that sanctions. And they were upset that why would you be sanctioning us if we remove those who have been like more or less like puppets of the West? Why you, Africans like us, why would you sanction us? So Nigeria cut off all the financial dealings and whatever, including they have this financial system built that operates between Nigeria and Niger Republic. Nigeria terminated that for a while. I don't know if they reinstated that anyway, right? So Nigeria cut off electricity supply to Niger Republic. And Nigeria wasn't giving Niger Republic free electricity. It was their own share of that agreement to allow Nigeria to build a dam using the water that is the River Niger. So electricity from there will be shared by some of these countries at a kind of like a discounted pay. Nigeria have to give them electricity. Nigeria cut all of that off, in case if you don't remember. So that forced them to form a bloc that made them to approach Russia for their arms, for other economic deals, including China. So in all of this, it is believed that the West African countries like Nigeria and others, they have shown hostility to them. They are not their brothers. Nigeria and maybe not you Nigerians, or maybe not you Ghanaians, or maybe not you Ivorians, or you Beninois. No. Your government and their position on this whole thing, they have posited that they are hostile to this AES, and they ban this their airspace. They ban all these other West African countries from their airspace. That one is not new. Do you understand? But Nigeria said, no, that's not what happened. They avoided the airspace. They weren't spying on them. They said these guys were going to Portugal. If you go to Portugal, no be Niger you go fly. What are you doing in even though Niger airspace you are not really allowed to fly that now. I don't know what is, I don't know what it is now. Remember that time when they banned everybody, right? So they've acquired enough equipment to jam any aircraft in the air. They will jam it and they'll force you down. Some of you who are thinking this is going to be the war of, some are actually expecting that this is an affront, an insult to Nigeria for a small country like Burkina Faso. You will not protect your people, and your people are living in the forest, tens of thousands of them, waiting to pay ransom right now. Do you really think all this thing is now about how much guns you are carrying and the rest? They can jam it and then bring it down as well. Don't pass through their airspace. They've warned you. So if you are going to Portugal, like they just claimed today, you're going to Portugal, once you fly from where? Abuja, it's a straight line. You are going to go straight down to Niger, fly over Niger. But if they didn't allow you to fly over Niger, because once you fly over Niger, now so you're going to go to all these places like Morocco, all this thing, there to the Mediterranean, then straight to Europe. But you can then make your turn to left or right if you are going to Portugal anywhere. Sure you get. But Burkina Faso, it can't be like person with here, Abuja, and you're supposed to fly direct. And then you decided to do like this. And you got caught in the airspace only to be embarrassed and detained. So 11 people were detained, including the military men on board. But as we are watching this like few minutes ago or so, they've been released. So it was like not expected to be a fight or a battle of any kind. No. But it is just that some of these, ignorant Nigerians who believes that most of the details by moonlight that they read in their civic book, right? Even though they are living right now, they can see the reality right now, but still they want to believe some of the faboos they told them, right? About how Nigeria can be this or that. A country that its military has been so compromised, exposed the millions of people to to violence and attacks and here and there, right? So that it's not a country you kind of gonna be bragging of. And for context, this you see this C-130 aircraft, is exactly the one that was held for over 24 hours in Burkina Faso earlier. Just for context, look at it. This is the aircraft. A cargo plane, military cargo plane. So it is not like a spy plane, it's not a fighter jet, just cargo plane. And usually I believe they can also use same for troop deployment, where they can put like 300 or 400 soldiers in there and lift them to take them, to the war front, I think. But right now, the aircraft has been let off as all clearance also have been addressed. Well, that's in Burkina Faso. So, Utomi, all of this that we are seeing right now, this ridiculing of Nigeria and all of this due to the poor leadership and all that, Nigeria have lost its place, or like Nigeria have lost a place in the world. This is how he described it. You know Utomi, right? The guy who wanted to set up a parallel government. No, I can't remember, but yeah, Utomi.
I think the Tony Uranta Memorial Lecture was an appropriate place to get into this because in ways, Tony Uranta, who I walked a path with, represents an era of optimism about Nigeria. When we were young kids, youth corpers, back in 1977, the optimism was extraordinary. We thought we would change the world. Nigeria was at the epicenter of a rise of the dignity of the black man. Now, you and I know that this is not how Africans even feel about us anymore. The question is what went wrong. And we can delve into so many tracks of what went wrong and how it went wrong. And the problem is that we are not given, unfortunately, in public culture in Nigeria, to rational analysis of how we got to where we are. And people, justify things in all kinds of ways. and don't enable them get to the truth so we can fix the problem. Nigeria was hope to the black man for a variety of reasons. I take a personal example of how I became very friendly with General Joseph Namvan Garba. Garba was foreign minister when I was a student leader at the University of Nigeria. And back in 1975, I came to Lagos to invite him to engage us in the debate at the University of Nigeria as students on Nigerian foreign policy. Because at the time, the most important thing in Nigeria was foreign policy. We were called a frontline state and all of that. And when I got to Lagos, of course, the usual thing, you student, you want to see foreign minister, go and write to your dean, to this, all that stuff. Of course, I went down, waited in ambush literally for him to arrive, and as he arrived, I stepped out and said to him, Colonel Garba, I disagree with you on Angola. He said, my name is Utomi. I'm from the University of Nigeria. And we began a debate, which took me past his secretary who had bounced me. Anyway, all that is history. That optimism with which we saw Nigeria's role in Africa has somehow faded. I can tell you, and I mentioned this in passing at the Tony Oranta lecture, because the chairperson was Ambassador Good News Igali. When Ambassador Igali was Nigeria's ambassador to Sweden, I had the good privilege of being invited to CIPRI's hosting of Global Trends, strategic process through which the US evaluates its place in the world. It was a very small conclave, former European prime ministers, the incumbent prime minister of Sweden, foreign minister, and of course, I can't talk about what we said at those kinds of events because they are Chatham House rules. But I can say to you that one of the things that hit me at that conference, and I told Ambassador Gali because he hosted my wife and I to dinner, one very famous man, one time he was on CNN almost every day, but said, what has happened to Nigeria is that it has lost its strategic relevance in the world. He said, 30 years ago, no power, no matter how big in the world, would want to do something in Africa without pausing to ask, how would Nigeria react? It's not necessarily that what Nigeria will do will stop it, but it will at least pause and ask. It says today, they would come into Nigeria's backyard without even thinking of Nigeria. So this loss of strategic relevance in the world is a very, very painful thing. But we can track how we got here. And that is what gets to me a great deal in having a political class that is not thoughtful enough, that is not able to have the kind of conversation that I had with a young colonel called Joseph Namvan Garba in 1975. Because we growing up, we read Time Magazine, Newsweek, cover to cover. So when I said what I said about Angola and the foreign minister said to me, what do you mean? I gave him a detailed analysis that got to him. So when he got into his office, he said, get me Brownson, he was the secretary, get me Brownson, Ambassador Brownson Dede. I'm going to Nsukka to go and debate these boys. That world is not, unfortunately, with us today. So much has changed, and the quality of the political class is significantly responsible for this problem.
He has no job. He has.
Are you not tired hearing about this glorious time of Nigeria? That period when, to go to school, they will give you chicken, full chicken, and full rice. You have, fresh milk with your breakfast. You have snacks, fruits. Man, they will take you on holidays. You go to all these historical places. You go on excursion. Nigeria was so beautiful. Nigeria, Are you not tired of hearing that? because all those things are now more or less like many that we never witnessed. And those who witnessed all of that then contributed to the ruin of all of that. So today, when they keep kind of like reminiscing on them on TVs and all that, and I'm like, because right now they have raised generations who have only known hardship, suffering, corruption, what do you call it, extrajudicial killings and the rest of that, that we have coined a prayer. May Nigeria not happen to you. Because everybody knows what that means. It's kind of a situation whereby you become so helpless. Like there's nothing you can do. Nowhere to turn to, no one to turn to. They ruined as they told us, a supposedly great country. And they are not letting go as well, because they still hold on to it. They still hold on to this power, the governance leverage and the rest of that. They still want to be in charge, despite all they have done. So they should stop telling us how they used to have electricity, how they used to have, very beautiful hostels when they were in schools, how jobs were already waiting for them before they even finished their class 5. It was like their secondary school. They're already there. How many of them got scholarships to go and study abroad so that they could bring back this supposed, development from this developed world. What did they bring back to Nigeria? They brought back corruption, institutionalized corruption, which has now contributed to what they know as generational poverty, multi-dimensional poverty, where you have over 140 million people living in multi-dimensional poverty. Multi-dimensional poverty. Do you know it? Don't let them use fancy English, make it look like something nice. So, or maybe you are above it too. If you don't have access to 24 hours electricity, you are living in poverty. If you don't have access to, affordable healthcare, reasonable ones, right? You are living in poverty. If you do not have good and motorable roads, that is poverty, extreme. If you cannot stay safe around the people who are supposed to protect you, your police, your military, that is living in multi-dimensional poverty. Are you with me? A place where there is no rule of law, where everyone is a victim. It is a multi-dimensional poverty. The only reason that some of you don't see it like that is because you all thrive to become, strive to become I better pass my neighbor, which has actually made an average Nigerian a local government chairman, I've been a chairwoman, depends on your status, right? So a Nigerian, after paying all the taxes that they have no clue who is actually taking all these taxes, right? Then they will still have to go and build dig their own borehole for their own water, build their own homes, build their own fences for security, the mini prisons, burglary proof, and the rest of that to keep safe, while the same them are paying the salaries of a policeman, paying the military, paying the secret police, and everybody that is meant to be paid to keep them safe, but they don't care. So they would have to provide their own electricity. And then, it depends on how you are well to do. You still have to go and provide your own health care. You need to provide your children's education by yourself, except if you probably just, I don't know, like you have to. So you do all this by yourself and you say you are a proud Nigerian. No, you are a proud Mugu, because those who are responsible for half of what you do yourself, right, do not even feel like they are failing. They don't see it that way. They still pass the bucket back to you and blame you. Say, well, you expect too much. Do you expect government to do everything? I say, wait government go they do? Help. Any small thing, they will say, do you want government to do everything? Government cannot do everything. Say, wait government go they do? Like I just said now, you provide your own housing, you provide your own water, you provide your own electricity, you provide your own security to some extent, depends on how liquid you are, right? You provide all of these things yourself, right? And then government should fix the road. Some of you are even contributing money to buy yourself electricity transformers. But Nigeria will share real place, so that place no be real place. So government failed to provide electricity because there is no transformer to probably like distribute the electricity. The residents will raise money, contribute money, and then buy one transformer. And according to them, that transformer they just bought with their money is not their property. It belongs to the electricity